Hello, hello, lovely listeners. So today's title might have grabbed your eye. Everyone wants to find time, right? I think about this a lot, hence this whole entire podcast. But really, what I'm talking about is this desire to find time. We want to find time to go to the gym. We want to find time to ask for the raise or promotion. We want to find time to launch the business. We want to find time to start running. Unless you're me, I've shared this on the podcast before. I'm okay with never finding time to start running. But this dialogue and this language around time is very common. We're always looking to find time to do the things that we think that we should do or that we want to do. And I'm here to tell you straight away, straight off the bat, time is not found. Time is not like your car keys that went missing. Time is actually the most known, predictable, like thing in our lives. Like we know what time looks like. We've made decisions around time, and we know we can find out on the internet what time the sun is going to come up and what time the sun is going to come down. We know how many hours there are going to be in our day tomorrow and how many days there are going to be in our week and how many minutes in our hours and how many seconds in our minutes. Like time is a fixed and known variable. It's right in front for us to see. There's absolutely nothing for us to find when it comes to time. So I'm sorry to rain on the parade, because I'm sure many of you, like me, I was completely this person, and this is exactly how we've been taught to think about it, have been telling yourself like, oh, I'm going to find time or for X, or when I find time, I'm going to start Y. So just really starting by raining on that parade. So if it's not time that we need to find, what is it? Well, I just want to drop you an idea, a sentence. I posted this on my Facebook and got quite a few funny reactions, and on my Instagram. And what people were saying, what I was saying was, you will never find time for something you are telling yourself you don't want to do. That's what the post said. But you will also never find time for something you're telling yourself you won't be good at. You will never find time for something you're telling yourself you will fail at, and there's no point trying anyway. So can you notice here, if it's not the time, if we remove that part of the sentence, what we're saying is, I don't want to do something, right? The way we think about the thing that we're doing is what matters. I'm not going to be good at it anyway. The way we think about ourselves matters. I'm going to fail. The way we think about what we can create matters. So if it's not about finding time, it's about finding belief in ourselves. It's about finding like the drive, the motivator behind the action. And it's about finding the resilience and the willingness to potentially fail. Or it's about finding the belief that we can succeed. So I really want you to pause for a minute. And maybe when you picked up and listened to this episode, you already had something in mind, right? So I joked about the running one. I'm never going to find time to run because I definitely don't think I'm good at it. I think it's hard. I think it's not enjoyable. I think it's not worth it. I've heard it's like bad for your knees. Like it's not something that I'm looking to pick up. But I did go to the gym yesterday and lift weights, which is something fairly new for me. And I found the time. I was using that sentence, but I actually maybe should stop because we've heard it enough. But I created the time. In fact, not even created. I allocated the time to do that. And by the way, I should add that Giddy had the car, and I had to get a taxi there and a taxi back. And even my Uber driver on the way back was like, wow, like you're really committed to going to the gym. And he was right, I was, because I had an easy out with not having a car. But I went because my belief around it is, this is good. Like, this is good for me. This is going to be fun. This doesn't take a lot of time. I know you'd like that one. This is easy, and this is super beneficial to me. Like, I want to build muscles. I think there's so many advantages to that. So you can see how bought into it I am. And it's just a completely different thing. Now, some of you might be like, I would never do weights and I would only do running. This is not a debate about like running versus weights. You do whatever you want to do. I'm just showing you the mindset and the thoughts behind what we spend our time on. It is not about finding time. What are you currently allocating time to? Are you allocating time to going out for a walk in the middle of the day? Are you allocating time to scrolling on social media? Not that I'm here to judge. I also scroll on social media, but it's like, what are your thoughts about scrolling on social media compared to your thoughts about maybe preparing the presentation that you've been putting off, or asking for the raise that you've been putting off, or working on the website that you're building, whatever it might be. Just notice that the thoughts are going to be different. You are allocating time based off of the narrative that you have, not based off of a lack of time. Now, some of you are going to come for me on that one and say, Vicky, you don't know what it's like for me. I really have no time. I really have, 3 kids and a full-time job and a side business, and we're redoing the house and we're moving countries and all of the things. But that's not a problem. It doesn't matter. Just know that you are currently allocating time to those things, and you do not need to find time for other things. You just need to reallocate. So you might choose, for example, to reallocate. I was coaching someone on this once. I spoke about this on the podcast. Someone that was like, she had a job and a business and kids, and she was saying how she didn't have time for her business. And I invited her to reallocate some time, instead of with her kids, with her business. Like, her thought was, I'm not spending time how I choose. There's no time for me to do my business. But really, the coaching she got made it clear that she's spending the time exactly how she chooses, because she chooses to spend time with her kids over her business. Now, it's not to say, I know the messaging out there is like one is morally superior than the other, or whatever that is. That's not what we're talking about today. My honest view is nothing is morally superior if it's not what you want to do. But the idea is simple. Where are you allocating time, and where do you want to be allocating time? And if you have something that you've been telling yourself you want to find time for days, weeks, months, or even years, how about we understand instead why you are not allocating time to it? Because the time is there, the time is fixed. Why would you choose to not allocate time to it? And then some of those things, some of you will be listening, and your answer for why you are not allocating time to it will be enough for you to drop the idea that you're going to ever give time to it. You just get to put that down and say, you're right. I am not going to ever, do the gardening or whatever it might be. We've been speaking about growing our own vegetables in the garden. I would absolutely love to do it. It's not something we're allocating time to right now, right? It's a very different thing to say like, oh, I need to find time for it. It's just not something I'm allocating time for right now. It makes me feel way more powerful than saying like time needs to change, time needs to appear, time needs to be found. So for you, what is it that you are telling yourself you want to find time for, you really don't, but you're just consciously choosing not to allocate time to? Now, on the other hand, there will be some things that come up, like for me with lifting weights, where there was probably a time where, there was definitely a time where I was going to start one day and going to do it one day. And then thinking about where am I allocating my time, and is this a priority, actually allowed me to allocate time to it on purpose, even when I didn't have a ride there. So really stop thinking in terms of finding your time and start thinking in terms of allocating your time. And the difference, or I should say, the reason why we don't find time for things, and I say that, create time, allocate time to things, is not a time issue. It's an us issue. It's a people issue, right? I always say our brain is our number one time tool. And the reason we're not allocating time to things will be typically because of one of the 3 things we spoke about today: how we think about ourselves, how we think about the task, and how we think about like the outcome of that task. Like, I am not going to go to the gym and lift weights if I think it's not going to have any impact on my fitness goals and on my health. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to be very honest. I am not going to go to the gym if I think I am not going to be able to do anything in the gym. And I am not going to go to the gym if I think lifting weights is going to be boring, hard, unnecessary. So that's just one example that I wanted to give to you. And that's why I'm not going to the gym to run. So just get very clear. I really invite you to and challenge you to stop using the phrase finding time, and instead swap it for allocating time, and then get very clear on why you are not allocating time to something if you say you want to do it, and allow yourself to drop it if the conclusion is that you actually don't want to do it. So that's it from me. Have a lovely week. Bye.